Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, January 8th. It is 6:22 right now. Market's going to open in about 8 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a couple things here to update, and we should be good to go. All right, looks good there. Looks good there. A few more things here. All right, looks like we are good to go. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. It's good there. Send it out right there. Right there. And it looks like we are good to go. All right, so we'll get a few moments for people to make their way in. And as people join in, I'll start marking up liquidity over here on our liquidity chart. All right. So good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, January 8th. It is 6:23 right now. Market's in open in about 7 minutes. Looks like people are starting to join in. So I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here on the daily time frame. So got this right there. Go over to the 8-hour. Down to the 4-hour. Down to the 2-hour. Down to the 1-hour. Down to the 30-minute. We'll change this color to red. Down to the 15-minute. Down to the 10-minute. And it looks like we are good to go. All right, so we got liquidity pretty much marked up over here. First level of liquidity is going to be down here at 37,539. So here's the closest level for a sell down here. Closest level above is going to be at 37,616. So we got the upper level right here, lower level right here. Those are the two closest levels of liquidity. Let's take a look at retail sentiment real quick. Let's see where everything's sitting. Retail sentiment is currently 80% short. This indicates that 80% of retail traders are currently selling right now. So you typically want to do the opposite and buy. So with that said, with regard to retail sentiment, it's currently bullish. Looking over here at the fundamentals pre-market is currently bearish right now. So that kind of mixes and conflicts. So there's not really much of an overall bias here at this very moment. Looking over here at pretty much all the other time frames. So the 1 minute's bearish, 5 minute is neutral, 10 minute is neutral, 30 minutes bearish, 1 hour is bearish, 4 hours bearish. So with that said, we kind of have more of a bearish bias today. It's not super strong, but that's kind of what we have at the moment. Looking over here from London session is pretty much, let's see. It's pretty mixed. I mean, it was kind of bearish, but then it went sideways. So right here on open, it went downwards. Then it kind of went sideways pretty much for the rest of the day from 1 o'clock up until now. So there's not really much of a direction. with regard to London session. It's more of a range right now. Price pretty much range between this upper level and this lower level right here, of course. And if you want to go even closer, you guys can see how price is just starting to squeeze even tighter right here as price gets closer to New York session. So not really much of a direction here from London session. So you can't really have much of a bias. I mean, the bias here is pretty mixed, which is completely fine with us, right? Of course, we would want a bias, but it's fine if there's no bias because we can trade in either direction. You guys want to keep in mind that today's Monday. So Monday is always a tricky day to trade because the market hasn't really stabilized from the weekend yet. So with that said, we have a couple of news events today. It's all low impact, nothing serious. We had news at 2:30 and 6:05. So I'll mark that up real quick. Kind of random times for news, but we're gonna mark them up anyway. So we had news over here at, what was it? 2:30 and 6:05. Yeah, random time. So 2:30, which is right there. Fix that real quick. 2:30, which was right there, and 6:05, which was right there. 2:30 again, which is there, and 6:05, which was right there. All right, well, pretty much all marked up right there from where it's at. And we'll see what happens here on market open. So at this very moment, guys, I think the main entries that I'll be looking for myself personally, which I think are quality, are going to be the breakout V3 continuations. And so the breakout V3 continuation, the momentum pullback scalp, and then I'll look for a certain V1 variation. So I'll look for V1 variations in the direction of trend, but I'll be looking for rejection off structure. So I'll look for a V1, but I'll see if there's any confluences. I think that's the thing that we're going to be moving forward with, is just confirming confluences, because that's kind of what we've been doing moving forward, and what we've been doing for the past couple of weeks with a lot of our entries. Because I'm not looking for every single entry, but I'm looking for high quality entries that are like almost for sure going to hit. So I'll be looking for entries with confluences. I'll mark up other entries that come up, but for the most part, I'll be looking for entries with confluences that I plan on entering myself. So just keep that in mind, guys. But all right, guys. So with that said, market is about to open in about a few seconds here. So morning, Daniel, morning, Brian, morning, Kenny, morning, Kip, morning, Eunice, morning, Patricia, morning, Don, morning, everybody. Yeah, exactly. Kip said using old school K2 price below pivots on multiple time frames is already 100 points down. Yeah, no, it could be good for sellers, definitely. And I agree with you 100%. So, all right, guys, market is now open. I'm going to go and mark up opening price right here. I'm going to wait a bit for the market to kind of stabilize a bit. I don't really like taking trades really directly on open anyways. If you guys are looking for the breakout version 1, if this closes as a strong red candle, this could be the breakout version 1, but you guys can see how many red flags are here, right? A ton of red flags all throughout. If this candle here closes with a buy signal and a strong green candle, this could be a breakout version 1 for a buy. So if you guys are looking to take the breakout version 1, I don't think anybody here is really looking for it, but I'll mark it up for you guys if it does come up. I just never found the breakout version 1 to be very reliable. I mean, it's a good entry, but you have to take every single entry. You can't be scared and only take a couple. Like, you can't really be picky and choosy with the breakouts, because they're going to come up every day and they're not always going to be a great entry. So this right here, I think the wick on top was a little too big, so I personally wouldn't have taken it. Some people would have, but like I said, I don't like the breakout version 1 because it's too subjective. If this here closes with a green candle, this will technically be a breakout version 3. So if you guys are looking to take the breakout version 3, there's another opportunity here for a possible entry if anybody is, obviously looking to take that there. So I'll follow it. There's not really much of a confluence here. So I think I'm going to hold off on this too. And it's too close to the session. It's too close to opening price, and it's too close to like everything down here. So I don't really like anything in this area here right now. If I get a buy, I want price to push up pretty far up. and I'll look for an entry out in the open over here. But I'm not really going to look for anything that's too close to any possibility of price faking out. So there was no green candle there. There's no breakout version 3. There's no entries right now. Price is still kind of bouncing around. There may be a momentum counter scalp here if you guys are familiar with that strategy. There's 2 red candles here. This may be coming back down. However, all of the red flags right here are reason to avoid entry, right? If you guys are not familiar with the red flags, basically any of the horizontal lines are red flags. The bigger red flags are going to be the red, green, and purple line. So this session's high right here, or this New York session's low, and this Asia low here, these are very big red flags. Like you definitely don't want to take any trades that touch it or have to come near it. The blue line is going to be opening price. It's not super, it's still a red flag, but I would still take trades if it's like, if it's not a big deal. Like if it's not like too close at the session. Like if price was to touch it and swung back up, then I would have been okay with it because price typically does reject off the opening price. It also comes back, you know, if you guys are familiar with the back to open, there's a lot of different ways to use the opening price and news price, but for the sessions, I for sure avoid them. So right here, you can see the candles touching it. I wouldn't take this as a momentum counter scalp, but the entry is currently running if anybody was looking to take that. And this here would technically be a momentum counter scalp entry. And it looks like I already hit TP. So again, we had a buy signal here, 2 red candles. This is called the momentum counter scalp entry. This is one of William's favorite entries when I first introduced it. I still like it to myself, but it's in too close of vicinity of these red flags. So it's not one that I personally like to take. Going back to our liquidity charts, looks like liquidity got hit. So if you guys saw over here, this kind of got hit and then it came right back down. It's just tricky right now. So obviously, as I mentioned, I don't like taking any opening trades over here because it's just too tricky how price moves. In order for me to look for entries, let me just zoom out a little bit. All right, so if I'm going to look for some entries here, I want price to push up and away. I'll look for some buys up here. Vice versa, if I'm looking for some sells, I'll look for price to come down to this point right here or even lower. So I'm okay with trading down here. And if not, I'm okay with trading down here while they're down. As you guys can see, this whole area right here is just an area of manipulation, right? This whole area in the middle, you see how price just fakes out both directions? It's not a good area to trade in. So for me personally, I'm going to wait for price to get out of this area and provide us some opportunities in cleaner direction. Let's go over here to our clean chart. So let me mark up opening price, which is right here at 6:30, 8 o'clock. Mark this up right there. Let's go on the higher time frames real quick, see if there's any structure here for us to mark up, because that's going to be very useful for us. 4-hour structure right there, 4-hour structure right there. Go down to the 1 hour. All right, so we got structure pretty much lined up right here. Zoom out from this. And we have the higher time frame structure right there. Price is pretty far from it. So as price continues to move along, I'll create new structure. But at the moment right now, this is pretty much it. So here's our clean chart. Not really too much to work with here. But as price continues to move along, I'll draw a 1-minute structure. So, all right, that's pretty much it for right now. There's no entries for us here at the moment. Yeah, there's just nothing going on right here. You're getting a lot of back and forth movement. ETR is pretty decent right now. It's at 17. It's not too high. It's not too low. It's right where it should be, 17. So between 15 and 20 is ideal ATR for our TP stop loss right now. If it goes anywhere above that, like 22 or higher, then we'll have to adjust our TP stop loss to something bigger. But right now it looks pretty decent. 17 is okay. There may be a possible entry here for a momentum pullback scalp if anybody's actually, it's going to be like right at it if it does, but it's not looking like it. So this would be the closest level right here. And I mean, it would literally be at the line. So price pulled up right here, the retracement, this red candle would have to close above this black line right here. And the entry for the momentum pullback scalp would happen like right here. So if anybody's looking to take the momentum pullback scalp, It'll be right at this level right here. If I could see if I can find it, but it's moving like super quick. So yeah, if anybody's looking to take the momentum pullback scalp, it would happen like right at this line where price is currently at. It's moving way too fast for me here. I'll see if I can put a buy stop there to catch it as it swings up. So I don't have it filled yet, but I'm trying to put a pending order there to catch it if it swings right back up. All right, so price is coming back down right here. The entry right here would be for the momentum pullback scalp. I have a pending order sitting right there, hasn't filled yet. I'm trying to. Let me see if I can get it up there. See what it's at. You know, this tool that I introduced to you guys, I don't really like it as much anymore because it's kind of hard to use when it trails price. So I might just stop using it and go back to the quick trade manager. Let me see if I can just take this off because it's just a little too difficult with how it moves. It trails price a little too fast, and I can't like I try to unclip it, but when I unclip it, it still works. So I'm not in this position right here, guys. I try to put a pending order right here, but I introduced this tool to you guys called Tool FX. It's okay, it's good, but the thing just like it tracks it, and it's like super annoying how it tracks it. Even when I unlock it, it tracks it. It still tracks it. Um, yeah, I know it still tracks it the wall. So I used it over here. I clicked the unlock tool, and it still tracks it no matter what. So I don't know what's going on with it. Yeah, so I'm probably going to. I don't know. Either way, I think I'm better off with using just market orders. Not to say that this tool isn't good. It's just for whatever reason, it always tracks price. Like price is moving up and down like this, and my tool is just tracking it. Even when I unlock it, it still tracks it. And I move it so far off and it still tracks it. So it's yeah, it's just not really useful to me personally. So I'll try to continue using it, but again, it's not really yeah, I try to click and drag them all. It still does the same thing. It doesn't matter. Like this is what the tool looks like. I'll put the tool over here. I'll unlock it. It still moves with price. I move it over here. It comes back down, moves with price. I click the unlock button. It doesn't work well with maybe it's because I'm on a Mac, but I don't know. It just doesn't work well with my computer. So I mean, we'll see. But as of now, I'm just going to use the market entry because I like using market because I like knowing exactly when price goes in and out. The coolest thing about that tool was just being able to put pending orders. But for me personally, I think I'd rather just do market orders so I could I know when I'm in and out. So I'm just going to open up my quick trade manager again. And I'll put my set lot size. Okay. So I'm just going to use this for now, just while I'm looking for entries here. I'll talk to you later, Vimal, see if we can maybe sort that out, but I don't think it's going to help because I tried a lot of different things already with it, and it still tracks price. Maybe it's like the settings when I first set it up, but it's just kind of annoying because when you're entering a buy, so for example, when I'm entering a buy, don't worry, guys, you're not missing out on any entries here. There's nothing for us to take here. For the momentum pullback scalp, I didn't get into that entry. I put my pending order there, canceled it because price ended up never coming back up. But yeah, so like if I'm looking for a buy, price is not even like tracking it properly. It's like above it slightly. When it's going for a sell, it's like literally on the price point. But we'll talk about that later, Vimal. All right, back to our analysis. Back to our analysis over here. There's nothing for us to take here at the moment. Yeah, price is still kind of pushing down a little bit. Yeah, there may be a V3 continuation right here where price can push into liquidity. Looks like price is pushing into liquidity down there. So it looks like there may be a sell position right here that it's setting up. The only thing here is that it's at news price, but that's completely fine. I think I'm okay with this news price because it's such a low level. And it's not going to be super like a really big deal. All right, so if this closes here with the red candle, this is going to be a breakout V3 continuation. I wasn't able to get into it yet because I was waiting for it to close. Let me see if I can maybe get into it here. I'll put another pending order down below. All right, so I got my pending order just sitting right here. If it doesn't come back down, I'm just going to cancel it again. So I guess my boys. Yeah, so I got a pending order sitting right here. See if it fills it. Oh man, my freaking MT4 is not working for some reason. Let me see where it's at. So I didn't get my fill, but I mean, it is running right now. It looks like it already hit CP. Let's see. Yeah, so it looks like it already hit TP, guys. I didn't even get my fill on that trade. I don't know what's up with my MT4 right now. I think because I've been going between damn, that would have been a good entry too. Fuck. It didn't fill my order. I think because I switched between the tools. I don't know what's going on with this. All right, so I guess I might not be able to take any trades today, guys, unfortunately. This is a really good entry though. So it played out perfect like I planned it to. So price kind of pulled up, and then when it pulled up, I put my pending order there. But for whatever reason, it came down, didn't fill my order. It's all good. I need to work on my MT4. I think because I switched between the tools, I went from the tools FX to the FTML quick trade manager, and there's something wrong with my pending orders now. Or in my platform might be a little glitched. This is like the downside of trading on a Mac because you don't have the actual MT4 platform. It's running on a virtual server. So it's all good. But anyways, guys, full TP on this right here. I guess we can count this because I was planning on taking it, but I wasn't able to get into it. But I'm glad you guys locked in profit on it, and we'll continue moving on with the next trades. So great work right there, guys, with the breakout V3 continuation. So let me give you a little analysis of why I was concerned, why I was okay with taking this trade. Was for one, we had a breakout V3 continuation. Price did not touch the sessions right here. That's one confluence, right? Everything kind of lines up. The biggest confluence here was the V1 pattern up here. So you guys can see the double body right there. This is what I look for majority of my entries. So if I'm looking for a breakout V3 continuation, I'm looking for this here to provide entry. And then when it provides entry, I'm looking for a confluence here. So this is a reversal pattern. You see how price pushed up, reversal, and this is the continuation. So this lined up perfectly and it went straight through. So right there, nice work, guys. Looks like majority of you guys caught that trade for a full TP. I'm looking for the same thing here for like a V1 variation. So for example, over here, there's a V1 variation, but it's not one that I would personally take. If I see a good V1 variation, I'll show you guys an example. But there's a pattern that I'm looking for. So basically, I'm looking for a V1, and I'm looking for the most recent high-low, and I'm looking for price to reject off that point. So like, say, for example, price kind of gives a V1 over here. Price comes back up, and say price comes back down right here, and then we get another V1. Say there's another V1 pattern here, double body, right? And it's rejecting off this structure right here, which is the closest high-low, like that. Then I would take this here for a V1. Or actually, I wouldn't take this one here for a V1. But if we had one coming back down, because the trend is bearish here, so price comes up and comes down like this, and then comes back up like that, I would look for the nearest high-low point right here. And if the V1 is rejecting off this structure, then I would take that for a V1 variation. So I think our main strategies that we'll be focusing on will be high-low momentum scalps, V1 variations, and breakout V3 continuations, just so there's a bit of a mix there. It's not just, and I think that's kind of a good mixture of different types of strategies, because a V1 variation is more of a pullback correction. The continuation is something where it's just a continuation, so it kind of lines up. So you kind of have two different types of entries. You have from the very start, and then you have some from the continuing push in that direction. So, and that kind of lines up with the momentum pullback scalp as well. So the V1 is good for, I'd say, a ranging type of market. And the continuations are good for directional markets. Nice. So Camel said, hate having your issues, but he's up 6% after that trade. Nice work, Camel. So Camel took the breakout V3 continuation here, held on to it, and he's now up 6% on his account. So great work right there. Glad to see that and glad to hear that for sure. Other than that, we'll continue looking for some more entries here. All right, so we're still, I mean, the trend is still bearish here, so we'll be looking for possible price to, obviously come back down. Let's see, I'm looking at the chat over here. David said his MT4 is lagging and Glenn's MT4 is lagging as well. Not sure if anybody else is having any issues, but seems like a couple people here are having some issues. But other than that, let's take a look at everybody's profits. Unfortunately, I don't have profits to share. I wish I did, but it's all good. I'm glad that you guys here are profiting with us. So Kenny over here is up 1,420 for the day. Nice work, Kenny. We have David over here up 115.20. Nice work right there, David. We have Kenneth here, total profit of 470 on his first account, 1,060 on his second, 810 on his third, and 1,665 on his fourth, all wins for the day. Nice work, Kenneth. We got Jonathan here. He said your analysis lined up perfectly. He took the breakout V3 continuation, total profit of 585 for the day. Nice work, Jonathan. We got more profits over here from Kenny. He's now up 2,240. Great work, Kenny. We have Andrew. He said one and done for the day. He's up 1,639 per account. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 accounts, about 7,000 for the day. Nice work, Andrew. So this is the key thing. Andrew here, he's like one and done, right? He looks for that solid entry like how I do. He locks in that entry and then he calls it a day. That's exactly what he did here. So right here, he took one trade. He's up 7,000 across all his accounts. And now he's done. So nice work right there, Andrew. We got Eunice over here. He took the breakout V3 for a sell. Nice work, Eunice. Nice profit there. Vince took it as well, 360 for the day. We got Jeff here, total profit of 3,480 for the day. Nice work, Jeff. We have Martha, total profit of 650 for the day. All wins there. We got Gian, total profit of 1,860. So these are all the people who took the breakout V3 continuation. Don't worry, we're not missing out on any trades here. We're just going over everybody's profit. So in order for us to have another entry like that, we need to get a sell signal that breaks and closes below this area and continues down. We're also looking for a V1 pattern. There's a V1 pattern right here that's starting to set up. So this could be a start of an entry for another breakout V3 continuation. So check that out right there. So yeah, looking at this here, we have some more profits from Natasha. Natasha's up 41.64 for the day. Nice work, Natasha. And we have Eunice here with a total profit of 412, all wins. So great work, guys. Profits across across the board here from everybody. And I think that's about it for right now. So, all right, other than that, that is about it at the moment. We have a V1 pattern here that's setting up. I wouldn't take this as a V1 entry because it is touching the sessions. This is considered a red flag. So this could be possibility of a fake out. And you don't want to get caught in any possibilities of a fake out. You want to take trades where, you have an edge in the market. Right here, there's no edge. I think whenever price is touching the sessions, you don't really have an edge. And you can see right here that price is faking out, just like we discussed. So this is exactly why you don't take trades at the sessions. This price faked out here and it swung right back up. So other than that, we'll continue looking for entries here. There was just one official entry for the day that unfortunately I wasn't able to get into, but it's okay. I'll have to get this all sorted out as we continue on. All right, so we'll continue looking for any other opportunities here. But right now, price again is in this middle area, which we don't typically like. Like we want price to push away from this middle area right here, because this is where all the red flags are. Looking over here on our clean chart, I'm going to go to markup structure. So we got structure right here. And we got structure down here, but it lines up with the 4-hour support. So I'm going to put this right here. 1 minute resistance level. And then over here, I'm going to call this the 4-hour support level. There we go. Right. All right, so we got price coming back down. We got the V1 pattern right here. This could be setting up for another breakout V3 continuation. If I get another nice, if I get another nice V1. So if I get a good V1, I'll mark it up for you guys so that you guys can see the pattern that I was talking about earlier. Also, just a reminder, guys, we're going to have our mentoring session today. This is going to be our mentoring session for the month. So if you guys can attend the session today, that'd be great. I'll be on there answering whatever questions you guys have. I'll be going in detail with all of the other strategies that we've kind of been discussing. And I'll go into a lot of examples of basically what we're focusing on at this moment, which is going to be breakout V3 continuations, V1 variations, and momentum pullback scalps, but with the confluences. Sell signal here didn't close, guys, so there's no entry. Kevin said there was a momentum pullback scalp at 645 that hit stop loss. That was the one that we were looking at earlier, right? Or am I missing that? Oh, this one right here. Okay. So there was one that came up right here that Kevin mentioned. I didn't even see this because I wasn't paying attention to it. But this here was a momentum pullback scalp. Let me see if I can pull up the levels real quick. So it looks like it actually hit right here. Kevin, or actually, no, you're right. It didn't hit because this is the first level right here. So yeah, there was a price came down right here. I think price was overextended though. So let's measure it real quick from this higher high. Yeah, so this was already overextended right here, Kevin. So if you measure down from like where this red candle pushed down, because this is how far price pushed down to, right? It was already down over 1,000 pips, 100 points. So this right here, I would have avoided this as a momentum pullback scalp. Anything over 100 is a momentum is over it's overextended. Usually if the market's slow, if it's over 75, it's overextended. But right now market's kind of volatile, so it's over 1,000 or 100, and this would be considered overextended. So this is like one of the red flags for the momentum pullback scalps. So like if you ever want to check that, just go to the most recent high or most recent low, and then measure it to like where price was. So price did come down here, this retraced up, and this would be, you're right, it wasn't an entry for a momentum pullback scalp, but it's one that I would personally have avoided because it was overextended. But yeah, price came down, would have filled at this price point right here, the 40. And that's where you would have taken the momentum pullback scalp. But yeah, so again, that's going to be a thing that I'm going to be covering. I'll make a list right now, actually. If there's any questions that you guys want me to cover, if you guys can attend the mentoring session later today, just, pop into the chat, put your question there, or you guys can private message me. But I'll make a list over here right now. So we'll cover the breakout V3 examples with confluences, V1 variation with confluences, momentum pullback scalp with confluences, confluences and red flags. I'll put that down there so that you guys have a better understanding of like how it is. And I'll also go over the trailing stop indicator. And I'll see if there's anything else that we have to cover, but I think for the most part, that's pretty much the main things that we'll be looking for. There's no entries right here, guys, so don't worry. Price is currently at the London low, so it's way too far down. There's a sell signal right here. So technically, if you wanted to take this, this would be this closed with a red candle, this would be a breakout V3 continuation. The only problem here is that it's right at the red flag. So obviously I wouldn't take a trade here regardless of the fact. Because these are trades that I avoid at the red line, purple line, and green line. I mean, all these lines do have an effect, but for the most part, red, purple, and green are for sure. Those are areas that we definitely avoid. There's also a high-low V2 that's setting up right here that Andrew just mentioned. The only problem with this again is that it's right at the red flag. So I personally wouldn't take it. I'll mark it up for you guys for those of you who want to take it. So price broke and closed below. Price is now above it. And actually, it looks like it would have filled already. This price broke above it right here and it would have came back down. But again, because it's at the red flag, you guys can see how the fake out happened at this point right here. So not exactly a type of entry that I would personally be looking to take. Yeah, it's like right at the sessions. Alan's asking what time is the mentoring session? Mentoring session's at 2 o'clock today. Alan, 2 o'clock Pacific time. So I think you're on the East Coast, right? So you're 3 hours ahead, which would be five for you. But yeah, 2 p.m. Pacific time. So guys, just another reminder, today we're having our group mentoring session, our group monthly mentoring session. At 2 p.m. Pacific. It's open to everybody. So whoever wants to join, go ahead and join, and I'll answer whatever questions you guys have. But our main focus for that session is going to be basically the main strategies we're applying: the breakout V3, V1 variation, momentum pullback scalp. And then I'll go over all the confluences and red flags that we look for, so that you guys have a better understanding as to what we're going to be focused on. I think the red flags are the same. Let me see if there's anything else here that. No, it's pretty much the same. Red flags, where price is near sessions, opening price, news price, counterpart entry is too large, and price is ranging. So nothing here has really changed too much. I think we still have our confluence checklist here too. I'll update this today. So I'll update that list today. The confluences do have a bit of an update, but not much. So yeah, it looks like this here wouldn't have played out if this was a high-low scalp V2 that anybody was looking to take. But again, I wouldn't have taken it because of the sessions. So I'll clean this up a little bit right here so that we have a clean chart in case we have any other high-low scalps. So I'm going to mark up this lower level here because this might be a decent one if price does make it down this far. Yeah, Kip said I'm expecting it to come up in a bit to wash out sellers. Yeah, I can see that too. Nick mentioned kind of crazy that sentiment is still so high to the short side, and it's been 3 weeks. Yeah, no, exactly. It's typically like that at the beginning of the year, and then it starts to balance out over like the first 1 to 3 months. So January is usually like that. I think last January is the same way because it becomes one-sided from the holidays. So like from late October to December, it becomes super one-sided, and then it starts to balance out. When you get closer to February, because January is kind of like it's still that month where things are starting to stabilize from the holidays, and then February, March, it starts to kind of flatten out a little bit. But yeah, having it above 80 is well, I mean, it's only the first week of January, so expect it to kind of drop down to the 70s maybe in the next couple of weeks. That's kind of where I see it. Topics for mentoring session. All right. And I think this covers a lot of the questions you had too, Randy, right? Let me just check. So I know you sent me a message with. Okay, yeah. So we'll go over in detail, and we'll try to give letters. Yeah, letter grades for that. Okay, so we'll do that. Let me just add that to the list here. But yeah, for the main gist of it. So I'll rate the red flags and the confluences. All right, there's no other entries here right now, guys. There's a breakout V3 continuation that came up right here. I wouldn't necessarily take it because it's going against the trend, and then also it's right at the sessions. So that's going to be another thing that I'll cover too. Like we typically don't really care too much about the sessions, but for me personally, I kind of do care about the sessions. I mean, not the sessions, the trend, because I like to trade with higher probability, right? Because technically you can take trades in both directions. You don't have to trade with the direction of the trend. But I think if you trade with the trend, you have a better opportunity to have the trade go in your direction. So while it's not necessary, I do think that it does help a lot. And I think moving forward for over the next couple of weeks, I'll be making dedicated videos to these specific strategies with the confluence and the red flags. So if you guys can't make the mentoring session today, that's completely fine. The videos will be out probably by the end of the month. Yeah, exactly. CC said trend your friend, and Nick said old K2 stuff. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is pretty much, we're just going back to the basics, right? Like when I first started introducing the strategies to you guys, this is like literally what we did. We went with the trend. We just got a little more complex as time went on because back then we didn't know what retail sentiment was, right? And you can see here it's starting to drop down, Nick. So this is kind of what I was telling you about. So it's going to start to drop down a little bit as we get closer and closer into the year. And it's just going to slowly impact as price continues to move along. Yeah, exactly. C6 said if you can't do the basics, you'll struggle more with the advanced stuff. Yeah. So I mean, if you ever like, you guys should start at the trend first before you start to factor in bias and fundamentals. The trend will always be the main thing for you because it's really hard to screw up the trend, right? I create these indicators, so so it kind of does everything for you. Sorry, guys, 1 second. But yeah, back to what I was saying. So the trend here is kind of foundation. So the foundation is the trend. And then once you confirm the trend, you can now confirm retail sentiment and fundamentals as extra confluences. So Jeff's asking what time is the mentoring session? The mentoring session is going to be at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So you can just set it to California time or Pacific, whichever you want to put, 2 p.m. But yeah, if you guys can attend, that's probably gonna be the best way to get in touch with me because I don't really mentor anymore. As you guys know, I don't like to really teach as much. I make pretty good amount of profit from just trading, so I don't really have to sell anything or mentor. That's why I haven't mentored in like, I think over a year now. I've been getting a lot of requests for mentoring though. So I think this year I'll put together a curriculum. So the way that this mentorship will work is it's more hands-on. So we'll probably have like the way that it'll work is we'll have this session here. And then right after this session, we'll get on a quick session with like my mentoring group. And then we'll go over stuff like in detail, like whatever trades you guys took, what were official trades. And I'm basically gonna lead you through a whole month or maybe a couple weeks of like hands-on and then a week of hands off, and then a week of review. So we'll try to do some stuff like that. I don't like to mentor because it just takes a lot of my time, and I just don't like to do much work. I like to just trade and make a bunch of money from trading. But yeah, I like to help you guys out here and there. So I'll put together a curriculum, and then from there we'll see. But it's probably gonna be invitation only. Like I'm not gonna be teaching beginners. It's gonna be mainly people who just need that extra help to kind of get them to consistency and discipline. All right, so we currently have price pushing up. So here goes the push to the upside. This is completely fine. It doesn't matter if price stays down here or if price comes up. It's fine because if price pushes up here, then we'll have entries. Whoops. Then we'll have entries up here, right? It's not a big deal. So there was a breakout V3 that came up right here, continuation, but it was right at the session. So obviously I wouldn't mess with it, but I think it would have played through. Let's see. Yeah. So the breakout V3 would have, breakout V3 continuation would have played through right here. There was a buy signal followed by a green candle. It was right at the session. So it went straight through and to the upside. But again, it was right at the session, so I wouldn't have messed with it. There's also a V1 here. So there's a lot of confluences here. So for you guys who want to take risky trades, you guys could have taken this right here. There was a V1 pattern right here. Price broke and closed. We had a buy signal right here, green candle right after it. And this right here would have been the breakout V3 continuation. I personally wouldn't take this because I don't like taking risky trades, but you can see here that it still played through, even though that it was right at the sessions. So everybody's kind of different. Some people want to take risky trades. Some people want to take only high quality trades. I'm more on the conservative side, so I typically only take, very high quality trades. That's just how I trade because I prefer quality over quantity. And it's worked well for me over the years. I think also from documenting the trade. So if you guys, again, if you guys are new here and you guys are not familiar with like the spreadsheet, if you go to the Discord, go down to 2023 official live trades. I'm going to update this to 2024. You click on the spreadsheet right here. And this really helped me last year because last year I was very careful with my trades. And you can see here that we had a really, really good year last year. So I'm going to try to do the same thing again this year and just be very, very conservative. I'm not going to take every single entry, but I will call out when I'm taking the higher quality entries because it's super helpful. I mean, for me personally, I think it's super helpful. I'd rather take 1 or 2 trades a day and then have all wins versus taking like 10 trades a day and then having like 3 losses. Because I think that I feel like losses kind of bring down your morale. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know how that feels, right? You have like really high hopes of having like a really good month, and then you have 1 or 2 losses, and then it kind of gives you in this mindset where you start to second guess your strategy and you start to make a lot of mistakes. So if I win every day, it doesn't really mess with my trade psychology. I just feel like I'm going to win every single trade. And then when I lose a trade, I'm like, okay, that's one of the trades that I lost for the month versus losing multiple trades. So there's no entries here right now, guys. Price is still pushing up. We need price to push out of this area and up over here for us to take some buys. So again, main things I'm looking for would be, okay, so price is pushing up right here. It looks like we may have a momentum pullback scalp, but again, we can't take any of these entries here because it's right at the sessions. I mean, if you wanted to, you could. There's technically a momentum pullback scalp that's running right now. Actually, no, sorry, I take that back. There isn't because there's no trend. Yeah, sorry, I take that back, guys. Kind of skipping steps here. So in order for you to have a momentum pullback scalp, we need to have a confirmation of trend, which we don't have here. There's actually no trend right now. The pivots are kind of just crossing over each other. Yeah, Andrew said also the push for momentum signal wasn't far enough. Yeah, it was a little too close. It was kind of similar to that first one that we were looking at because it would have lined up directly with the momentum signal and it just wouldn't meet criteria. The good thing is that the ATR is still pretty high, so we might have some opportunities here. I'm really hoping we get a V1 pattern here that meets the criteria that I wanted to show you guys, but it's not looking like it right now because we don't really have much of a trend. But yeah, I'll go over that stuff in detail during the mentoring session because I did a lot of testing over the weekend. I don't know, for whatever reason, like I get into these phases where I get really addicted to like to back testing and just figuring out solutions to like our strategies. And I found out so much stuff over the weekend that I want to share with you guys today. So I think today's gonna be a really good session. If you guys can't make it, just rewatch it later. But I did a lot of testing. I was on the computer for like pretty much all day Saturday and all day Friday, just figuring out, looking at little patterns here that help with our entries. So yeah, if I see the example, I'm going to show you guys and I'll probably take it myself too. I did a ton of testing on it. It's just using a complement. It's basically a strategy with a strategy. All right, so we got a V1 pattern right here that's setting up. It doesn't meet the criteria of the example I wanted to show you guys, but I'm hoping we get one here. So I'm hoping price pushes up and we get a confluence here. Yeah, exactly. Maddie said, I love double confluence strategies, 2 high probability strategies put together. Yeah, exactly. Sathira said, how to withdraw app not working. My funds is 15,000 inside. Don't took trade. I don't know what you're talking about, Sathira. You come into the chat like almost every couple of weeks and you ask for the same thing, but I don't even know what you're talking about. You have to go talk to whatever platform you're using with. I'm not even sure what platform you're using, but whatever platform you deposited in, you should go reach out to whoever you deposited to and make a withdrawal through them. We're not a broker, so I don't know what you're talking about, but you ask the same thing like every couple of weeks, and I'm not sure what you're talking about. So I would recommend that you go back to wherever you deposited your money and make your withdrawal there, because we're not a broker, we're not a bank, it's impossible for you to deposit anything to us because we don't take money, that way. So let's see. Kenneth said it also seems like when the momentum pullback scalp and V1 lines up as an opposite entry, then it lowers probability of the momentum pullback scalp, especially if the ATR is pretty high. Yeah, no, I've seen that too, Kenny. That's the one thing that I didn't really work on over the weekend. So I was looking for a confluence to make the momentum pullback scalp a little better, or just a confluence to like make sure that we have better opportunity for entry. But the problem with that strategy is that it happens so quickly that you don't really have time to look for a confluence, because if you have the pullback, it's like either you take it or not. But I mean, there's different ways to kind of use it. I think the V1 pattern is probably going to be the best solution, and looking for overextension. So again, we'll go over that stuff during the mentoring session. I don't want to burden this live session with too much details, but there's just nothing for us to take here. So don't worry, guys. If you guys are just sitting around waiting for an entry, there's nothing for us to take here at the moment. It's right in between all these red flags. So there's just nothing for us to take here. Drew said, bro, put his money in FTX, still wondering where his money is. Yeah, SBF's got it right now in the Bahamas. See, Nick said to check out the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, there's nothing going on. I mean, on the 1 hour, it's consolidating too. It's not really too much going on here. Same thing. Consolidation sideways. Same with the 1 minute consolidation sideways. I mean, you can probably go on any time frame and you're going to see that there's not really too much going on. Price is just going sideways. And this is when you should be sitting back. So I feel like a lot of people have a problem with sitting back. Okay, so this isn't a prime example of what I was kind of referring to with the V1, but this is kind of what I wanted to show you guys. So you guys can see right here where there's a double wick rejection. And you guys can see where the closest low is right here. See how this V1 is rejecting off this structure? Like right next to the nearest structure. This would be a V1 that actually would be okay with taking if it wasn't like where all these sessions are at. You guys can see how messy this setup is right here, but this is the pattern that I wanted to show you guys. So you guys can see there's a V1 here, and this would have been perfect entry too. I wish I would have taken it. This is what I was looking for, guys, but it was right at the session, so I wouldn't have taken it. So see how there's a double body, or not a double body, it's a double wick. So we got a double wick rejection, pending buy signal. This is the closest structure right here. And you can see how it's rejecting off it. This becomes a double bottom. So you have such a good confluence here. It's a double bottom off this level here. And then you also have the V1 pattern. So this is exactly what I was looking for. So you guys can see how strong it is, right? And it played out perfect. So this is what I'm going to be going over the mentoring session too. I think this will be one of our staples. It's going to be and if this is the case, we might not even need the momentum pullback scalp anymore, because I think this will provide enough entries for us. We'll continue looking for those entries, but these are perfect for two different types of market conditions, right? So this is good during a ranging market. If price is going back and forth, this is perfect because you can see how it creates structure. So now we have basically, when market is going sideways like this, we'll use the V1 pattern, but we'll use it when like there's some sort of trend and we have the double rejection or whatever. And then same thing with the directional pattern. If we're looking for price that's going upwards, we'll look for the breakout V3 continuation, and we'll look for the V1 pattern down here. So we pretty much are I think at this point, we're pretty much good for whatever type of market conditions we get. Because if price is going sideways, we'll just look for V1 patterns. And then if price is going directional, we'll just look for breakout V3 continuations. And I think that makes it super simple for everybody because you're not looking at like 20 different strategies, right? You're just looking at like two main ones. And then also the red flags and the confluences. So again, right here, we have a double body, but I wouldn't mess with this, like I said, because it's right in between all these sessions here, and the trend is bullish. So in a situation like this, when the trend is bullish, I would only be looking for buys here for the most part. So again, right here, price wants to continue to consolidate around this area. That's perfectly fine. But I'll look for a V1 and then I'll look for the confluence behind it. But again, if I see another entry, I'll mark it up for you guys. And then that'll be like one of the entries that we continue to look for. And I think that's probably the missing piece for, or that was the missing piece for the V1. Because the V1 is a good strategy. It's just you needed another confluence to make it better. And it looks like we have that. So I don't know, Vince is probably on this. So I think that's the missing piece, Vince, because I know you like taking the V1 variation. Now that you have that, you kind of have a pretty good confluence. So now when you take these V1s, it's gonna be pretty solid. All right, let me see if there's anything else here that I'm missing. All right. All right, so there's another V1 pattern here, but it's going against the trend, so I wouldn't take it. I mean, it's just ranging right now, so we'll have to see where this goes. All right, we got some more team profits here. We have David with a total profit of 33.60 for the day. Nice work, David. We got Kip over here, total profit of 3,081 for the day. All wins here. Nice work, Kip. And that's pretty much all the profits for now. If you guys have more profits to post up, feel free to send them in. Yeah, we'll continue looking. So no official strategies right now. The only official strategy that we had today was the breakout V3 continuation that I missed. There was a V1 that came up right here, but I wouldn't take it because it's right at the red flags. But I'll continue looking. So not to say that I'm going to completely scrap the momentum pullback scalp. I think it's still a good strategy. It's just, I think it might need a little more work for me to just have that confidence that I need to make sure I don't get caught in like fake outs and stuff. I think the main thing for the momentum pullback scalps, we just it'd be looking for red flags. I don't think you could find too many confluences, but I think looking for red flags would probably be best. So like say, for example, right here, we have a momentum pullback scalp pushing to the upside, right? You want to make sure that when price pulls down, you don't have a V1 pattern up here. Because if you have a V1 pattern up here, this could be a reversal pattern and it can easily just reverse right back down, right? I think that's going to be one of the things that we'll probably be looking at. Let me see if I can mark this up because it is bullish right now, but it hasn't pushed up far enough to be a momentum pullback scalp yet. So this might be actually a pretty good moment. So here's the confluences that I'm looking at now. So we have price pushing to the upside. If we have a momentum pullback scalp, we already have a V1 pattern over here off the closest high low. So this right here is already indication that price is going to push to the upside. I think the main thing that you want to look out for here is that when price does push up, you want to make sure there's no V1 from the top side. That's kind of what Kenneth just mentioned. So Kenny here mentioned that when there's a momentum pullback scalp and the V1 lines up as opposite entries, it lowers the probability. And that's exactly what I was just confirming right here as well. Exactly what Kenny's looking for. So when price pushes up, you just want to make sure there's no V1 pattern up here. And when there's no V1 pattern, you'll be okay with the pullback and continuation. Let's see. Oh, crap. I deleted that. Go back. Let's see. Question from Jeff. Jeff's asking, Sean, how do you enter a liquidity push trade in MT4? So the way that I would personally do it, or like how I used to do it in the past, is I would just wait for price to get near the area, right? So I look for price to get near the area and I would enter manually. So I just have my finger on the sell button ready. As soon as it comes and touches it, I enter right away. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is using that tool that I mentioned last week. It's called Tools FX. You can just drag your tool there and you can click on it and it'll put a pending order there. That's how I used to do it, and I think that's how Vimal does it as well. So that Tools FX tool it's a good tool. I just don't think it's good for market orders because, like, if you're taking a breakout V3 continuation, then you have to get in right away. And I think that's kind of where I'm torn too, Vimal, because it's good for pending orders, but it's not good for market orders because there's no market order, like there's no button to just enter right away. It's more so for putting a pending order. So, yeah, I think that's kind of where I kind of don't like it more. I like the tool for the momentum pullback scalp. I think that's like it's a great tool for that strategy. But I think for like breakout V3 continuations and okay, gotcha. There's a shortcut key for market orders. Gotcha. Okay, I'll probably look into that. I mean, if that's the case, then maybe I could use that. But yeah, I think that's just one of the things that kind of sets me back because I'm so used to using the quick trade manager that I just like clicking and being in the trade versus having because it's kind of confusing when you put a pending order up and you're like right at current price, you don't really know if you're in the position or not. And it kind of throws me off. I'd rather just click buy and I'm in the position. I'll know if I'm going to be in or not versus having a pending order just sitting there. Because it's really easy to double click and then have two pending orders and then it kind of screws with your position. All right, so we have a possible opportunity here for a momentum pullback scalp. Let's see how far price pushed up from this point here. See, I don't like entries like this where it's so close to the line because it's hard to tell if it's going to actually close below it or above it, or if it's even going to close red, right? So, and it's not looking like it there. And it's also near opening price. Thanks, Randy, for the heads up. And my yawn indicator just came up right now. Getting kind of bored. I'm just getting kind of bored because I can't take entries myself today. All right, so there's a possible entry here for momentum pullback scalp if anybody's looking to take it. It's currently running right now. I'm not, obviously I can't take any trades on my account, but this is a momentum pullback scalp. Looks like it's already running in profit. It came down, filled it at that point. So going back to like what Kenny was mentioning and what I was mentioning too, there's no V1 pattern up here, right? So I think this here would be a decent entry for momentum pullback scalp. So we had price push up right here. We had a buy signal, price pushed up, retrace, entry would have happened right here, and you're hoping for price to push up and hit your TP. The one good confluence is that there's a V1 pattern here, so you know price is supposed to be going up. Your second confluence is that there is no V1 pattern up here, so it looks like it's going to continue to push right through, and it played out perfect right there. So it looks like CJ caught it. Nice work, CJ. I don't know if anybody else caught it, but I'm not going to count this as an entry. I know it hit full TP, but I'm not going to count it because I'm not here to like say, oh, I would have taken this trade, but then I didn't take it, right? I'm only going to count the ones that I'm taking myself. So right here, I couldn't take this trade myself. So I'm not going to count this as an official entry, but I wanted to use this as an example to show you guys of a good momentum pullback scalp. Price came down right here. There's a V1 pattern. This is a nice confirmation of price to push to the upside. We had a buy signal here as a continuation. Price pushed up, retraced at this point. There is no V1 pattern here. If you guys are not familiar with V1 patterns, they're double body or double wicks off a high low. So there was a high here, but there was no double body, double wick. So this was perfect. There was no structure here kind of holding it away from pushing up higher. Price pulled back down. Entry would have happened at this 90 mark and it would have lasted, right through. So again, this is what we're going to cover during the mentoring session today. I'm going to go super deep in detail. I'm going to look up a bunch of examples so that you guys can see, and we'll play through. Gotcha. Okay, Vimal. So shift E is to execute the trade. That's good to know. Yeah, thanks, Vimal. Take a look at that. Andrew said, I just hate when my full lot size doesn't get executed with pending momentum pullback scalps. I know sometimes that happens, right? Especially on Apex and Trade I used to hate that because you get that order filled sound and it only fills like half your orders, right? Or it fills like two of your orders. Um, yeah, I know that feeling, Andrew. It's annoying, but at least you would have gotten some profit on that. That was like the pro and con of hearing order filled. Like I think it was such a good, it was just such a justifying feeling when you hear order filled, it comes down and then it hits your TP and it says order filled to the upside. So you know for sure when you're in and out of the position. Um, I still got to open some Apex accounts, so maybe that'll be the next move for me. Maybe I'll open an Apex account and then I'll only take momentum pullback scalps on those. Because I think that's something that I could do because in that situation, I can just put pending orders for momentum pullback scalps, and then I'll just take the V1 variations and break out V3s on the FTMO because those will all be market orders. All right, so there's no other entries here right now, guys. The the momentum pullback scalp already played through, so there's no more opportunities there. I mean, we'll see what else happens here. But there's not really too much here. Price is currently at the 1 minute resistance level. Yeah, so over here on our clean chart, price is right at the 1 minute resistance level. Price is pushing up to retest the liquidity right here. And it looks like price is trying to break through. Yeah, C6 said all of his entries are exactly at order price, no slippage. They're mostly limit orders. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's what I liked about it before. That's why I was using TradeObate before because we could put like our pending orders there and they would just fill perfectly. The only problem with TradeObate before was you guys know how we had those issues in the beginning. And that's kind of what made me not really want to use it anymore with the connectivity issue. But they're still good. I mean, they're fine. I think now they're better. They figure out a way to prevent that from happening. Oh, gotcha. Okay. So Sisu said you figured out the copier. Yeah, I gotta sit down with you, Sisu, to get that copier down. If anybody knows the situation to connect TradeObate, like copy TradeObate trades with FTMO or MT4 in general, I think that'd be game changer because then I don't have to use multiple platforms. I think using multiple platforms is yeah, I know Kip showed me that there was a bridge program for it before. I'll have to revisit that. Yeah, I'll take a look. All right, so let's see. Kenny said another thing to look at with the momentum pullback scalp is when price is in a range or even in consolidation, then momentum pattern plays through several times. It's interesting because it plays through if the price is going against a trend or even if ATR is low, but there are certain red flags to look out for that would lower probability of a trade. Yeah, no, and I agree with you too, Kenny. There's a lot of different factors that go into the momentum pullback scalp. That's one of the reasons that Kenny likes the strategy so much because it lines up with like, like as he mentions, pure price action. Because I mean that's kind of what it is. Everything is kind of is as a form of price action, but I think the momentum pullback scalps that's exactly how price action moves. It's, you look for the upside, retrace, continuation. That's like, it's the basic of price action. We're doing the same thing with like the V1s. It's like, but you're just looking for different things. You're looking for price to push up, retrace, V1, and then breakout continuation right here. But I could see why Kenny really likes the momentum pullback scalp because it's basically price action in its rawest form. The only thing is that we have an advantage because we have our momentum signal. So it kind of gives you an illustration of like where price is going and my trend meter as well and my pivots. But you can do it without it. Like you don't necessarily need all my indicators. It's just my indicators make things a whole lot easier. All right, so price is breaking outside of the 1 minute resistance level. We'll see if price continues to push up or if it pulls back down. I think what might happen here is price might push up and it might start to range. Let's see. So there's a high level right there. So this is actually a high-low scalp, guys. I don't know if anybody was able to identify that, but there was a high-low scalp right here. Price broke and closed past this higher high. I mean, I probably wouldn't have taken it though, because it looks like price is overextended at this point. Or actually, it looks like it could have been okay. But I mean, me personally, I probably wouldn't have taken the risk. Sisu caught that high-low scalp. Nice work, Sisu. Camel said, I'm impressed with how you predict trend reversals. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. It's just it's kind of using confluences, like because there's a lot of I think the easiest way to identify reversals would be through V1 patterns. But then if you use multiple confluences, you could have a better understanding. So with this entry again right here, there's another confluence, like the same confluence we used earlier. There's a V1 pattern right here, identifying the reversal. And then we had the momentum pullback scalp right here, and it just continues to push up higher. So you guys can see that all my strategies, they kind of, it's like it's a whole ecosystem of strategies that kind of tie in together. They're not just like standalone. Like you could use a different strategy to confirm a confluence for another strategy. So like for this high-low scalp over here, you could have used the momentum pullback scalp as a confluence. Price pushed up, retraced, continued up higher, broke structure. And you could have used this as a confluence to take this entry here. But again, I'm going to try to make things as simple as possible. I think moving forward, I'm going to focus on like maybe two strategies, like I mentioned, V1s and breakout V3 continuations. We'll still look at the other strategies, but I think for my official entries, I'll just be focusing on maybe two at a time, 2 or 3 at a time. There's a V1 pattern setting up right here, but this wouldn't be a V1 variation because the trend here is bullish, Jeff. So I wouldn't have taken this here as a V1, but it is a V1 pattern. There's a double body rejection right there. But in order for it to be V1, you have to confirm the direction of trend and the direction of bias. Bias here is bullish, as you can see. Price is above the pivots, trend meter's green, pivots are angling up. What you would look for is you'd look for a V1 from the downside, Brian. So you'd look for price to push up, look for it to come down, and look for it to come back up. So you'd look for a V1 down here. And then you'd look for the buy right here so that you can continue riding it up higher. Yeah, so once you see the direction, so like for example, right here, you see the direction going up. You're only looking for V1s on the bottom. So you look for price come down, V1, enter, V1, enter. And then vice versa, price is coming down and you have a bearish trend, you're doing the same thing in the opposite direction. Right, price comes down, you look for a V1 right here. You're basically calling the tops and bottoms with the V1s. Price comes up, top, V1, continuation, V1, continuation. So yeah, I mean, it's literally price action. It's just that I made things so much easier because I created these indicators so that you know exactly where these highs are coming up from instead of guessing, right? Because if you guys are guessing, you might think that, okay, this is a high. You might think this is a high. But my indicator here, it kind of shows you that, okay, this isn't a high because it's still pushing up higher. The actual high is up here. So pretty much takes out the guesswork. So you don't have to guess like, where's this high at? Where's the low at? Let's see, Jonathan's asking if that was a V1 at 650. Yeah, this was a V1, but it was I mean, it was right at all these red flags, so I probably would have skipped it, but this is a V1 pattern right there. It's a V1 pattern. It doesn't meet the criteria that I'm looking for though. So it doesn't meet the criteria where it's rejecting off structure, but it is a V1, like a regular V1 variation. All right, so price is super far up. It's past 7:30 right now. As you guys know, I typically stop looking for trades myself personally after 7:30 because the volatility starts to die down. The volatility is actually pretty high right now. It's starting to die down a little bit, but it's still pretty high. Earlier in the session, it was like at 17, 18. It's now at 16, and it just keeps getting lower. So we'll continue to look for any possible opportunities here. But again, like I mentioned, there's just not really too much to work with here. Price is kind of overextended, and it's at the sessions right now. So kind of just got to sit tight and wait. Let's see, question from Nick. Nick's asking, what exactly is the difference between a stop order, limit order, and stop limit? Um, so here's like a basic breakdown. So like say for example, you're looking for a sell, right? If you're looking for a sell and your entry is going to be down here, it's going to be a stop order. So price is coming down, you're looking for a sell and price is below, your entry point is below price, that's going to be a stop order. If you're looking to take a sell and price is already past it, that's going to be a limit order. So if it's up here, this is a limit order. If it's down here, that's a stop order. That's pretty much it. There's a that's like pretty much the main gist of it. I know it sounds complicated, but that's really what it is. So like say for example, price is coming down right here, right? If you wanted to enter a sell right here and your sell is below this point, it's going to be a sell stop. If you want to enter a sell, but your entry is up here, it's going to be a sell limit. And then vice versa, if price is pushing up and you want to enter a buy here, this would be a buy stop and this would be a buy limit. So I know it sounds confusing because I don't know why they use different words. It should just be one word, like right, buy, sell. But that was like one of the big things I had to explain to people when I used to do signals a long time ago, because people wouldn't know the difference between a limit and a stop. But if you try to enter the trade, so if you try to enter the trade, Nick, it'll give you an error. So for example, if you try to enter right here with a buy stop, it'll say error, wrong order type. So it pretty much automatically corrects you because it's impossible to put an order like that down there. It would just be a limit. Vince, the mentoring session's at 2 o'clock today, 2 p.m. So yeah, I'll be there. I'll answer all the questions. We'll go into some super deep detail with like what we're doing now. I think our main focus is really just going to be the stuff that we're covering right now, because I don't want people to get confused. Like whenever somebody goes and reviews the most recent mentoring session, I want people to know exactly what we're doing at that very moment. So I'm going to mainly focus on breakout V3 continuation with red flags and confluences, V1 variations with breakout with red flags and confluences, and then we'll touch on momentum pullback scalps as well. So because I think those are the 3 main strategies we'll be applying. And then I guess the trailing stop indicator. There's not really too much that needs to be explained with it, but I'll cover it anyways. Yeah, Kenny said in a range, I like to see a V1 rejection off structure, then momentum pullback scalp back to the top. Yeah, exactly. I like to see that too, Kenny. So that's exactly what I just referred to, like using multiple confluences and setups to basically improve your probability of winning. Kenny said there's so many one trade per day entries that we can take with high probability. And I agree. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for maybe 1 or 2 good trades that are like almost guaranteed to hit. And then I'll take my $2,000 there per account, and then have like 8 accounts. So I'll make like 10,000 or more in a day, right? Just taking one trade. So that's kind of the mindset that I'm trying to get across to you guys. You don't have to make like big trades. Like you don't have to catch like 1,000 pip moves a day. You can take like 100 pip move. Just make sure it's going to hit. Like you got to be sure that trade's going to hit, so that you don't feel scared about taking the entry. So yeah, CJ said the momentum pullback is one of his faves. Got him through summer. Yeah, I think that strategy was really good during the summer because we had it was such a wacky market. I mean, it's still good, but it it's just the volatility is higher. I think when the volatility is too high, the momentum pullback scalp gets kind of risky. But like during the summer, it was perfect because the market was going so slow. Like you could like literally catch it as it would slowly come back down, right? It would like literally come down like that and it would go straight up. Right now, the volatility is super high. Like this morning, the momentum pullback scalp will do some crazy stuff like this. It'll go down, come super far down, then come back up, then come back down. And it's just it's a mess. So I think the momentum pullback scalp is a great strategy as long as you have multiple confluences because the volatility is just a little too high right now. Before we were complaining because the volatility was too low. Now we're complaining because the volatility is too high. The main difference with that is that we would just have to adjust the TP stop loss. So instead of going for a 1025, we would have to maybe just slightly adjust it, right? Because right now it's at a 1025, it's really small. But moving forward, we might have to just adjust that to something like 2550, which is fine too. This is actually a better risk reward, it's a 2-to-1 or a 1-to-2. So I mean, we'll see. We'll we'll see where this goes. But I mean, I'm always looking for ways to improve. Um, I'm in that mode right now where I'm trying to make as much money as possible in the early time of the year, just like we did last year, right? So if you guys remembered last year, January was the biggest month that I had of 2023. So January of last year, I locked in 6,950 pips. I had 23 wins, 3 losses. This was like my biggest month of the entire year. And then February is kind of pretty decent. And then it started to slow down as we got closer to summer. But yeah, January is usually the time where I'm trying to make, the most amount of profit as possible. I put away pretty much all of my distractions. Like I put away my PlayStation. I'm not playing any more video games. Just going to the gym and studying the charts every single day, looking for different opportunities for us to make more money in the market. So I usually start the year off like this, like every year. So it's not a big change for me. But yeah, my main focus right now is really just studying the charts to see what the market's going to give us for this coming year and finding different patterns for us here. Yeah, Maddie said don't wear PS5 for him. You gotta talk to Gian, bro. Gian is on PS5 like 24/7. Gotta get that guy off the PlayStation. All right, so we currently have a possible breakout V3 continuation right here, but it does not look like it's in a close green. Actually, it might. Okay. So it looked like it was going to close green and then it spiked right back down. Yeah, Vince said no more clubbing for him. Yeah, Vince, you gotta tone it down a little bit. Yeah, Maddie said, yeah, right. Vince is probably at Mesa right now. What's today? Actually, yeah, today's Monday. You're probably at Mesa right now. First Mesa of 2024. Yeah, Vince, you love Mesa, bro. Mesa and where else do you go? Time, Heat. Yeah, Heat. Can't forget those places. Yeah, I don't blame you though, Vince. I was just like you back then. Yeah, Maddie said, bro, said no more Mesa. I'm gonna go to Heat instead. All right, guys. So there's no entries for us right here. If there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. It's 7:45 right now, so we got about 15 minutes till 8. But you guys can see the volatility is dried down completely. So if you look down at the ATR, we went from 19 ATR to 17 to 15 now at 12, and you can see how price is not really doing anything here now. So if there's any other questions, guys, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll answer whatever questions you guys have before we wrap it up. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take any trades myself, but I'm glad to see a lot of you guys here lock in a ton of profit. We have Lila over here with a total profit of 2,190 for the day. Nice work, Lila. Great way to start off the trading week. A lot of you guys did pretty good. Lila locked in 2,000, Kip locked in 3,000, David locked in 33, Eunice locked in 400, Natasha locked in 400. Gian here. Actually, Gian was on the live, but he got off. I think so. Gion's problem here is over trading, right? So what he does is he gets his one trade in. So you can see over here, Gian locked in his first trade, 1,860, and then he logged off. I was kind of wondering where he was at. because I was looking here at the member list. But he took his trade here at 648. He took that breakout V3 continuation, took it, and then he bounced. Some people need that, right? If you guys have a problem with over trading, Gian here kind of sucks at over trading and he doesn't want to take any bad trades. So he takes his one trade, wraps it up, and he's done for the day. We have more trades over here or more profits from Johnny. Johnny locked in a total profit of 3,941 for the day. All wins. Nice work, Johnny. Yeah, you guys did pretty good. So, solid profits here from all you guys. Looks like Maddie's done for the day too. He's wrapped it up. But let me just scroll up real quick, see if there's any questions here that I missed. Yeah, so Jeff said got him thinking the higher high would hit the liquidity level, should not went in knowing that there was a session level there. Yeah, the sessions here are the trickiest thing. So, well, I mean, it's not the trickiest, but it's like the easiest thing to spot to avoid any entries, Jeff. So guys, just a reminder, the red flags that I missed, that I avoid the most would be the purple ones. And you'll see the labels over here. So basically the purple, green, and red. Purple is going to be Asia high lows. Green is going to be New York high lows, and red is going to be London high lows. These are tricky areas because a lot of manipulation happens around this area. So you can see if let me just take everything off the chart real quick. So you'll see here that, even if you try to, I'll delete the news price too, because I don't think it's a big deal. So if you guys look over here, you can see that whenever price gets near the sessions, a lot of manipulation happens, right? Price comes over here. This whole area is an area of manipulation, keeps going back and forth. Even right here, price gets to this purple line up here, which is the sessions. And again, it is an area of manipulation, right? So if you're going to do anything with avoiding trades, at least avoid trades whenever it comes near these sessions, because I think this will help you avoid a lot of losses. This is something that I went over with Camo. This is like groundbreaking for him, because he just realized that a lot of his entries, if he just avoided entries where these sessions were at, he would have avoided pretty much all of his losses that he ever takes. So with that said, Camo doesn't even apply my strategies. He does his own thing, but he uses this as a confluence to identify where not to trade. And I think that's the biggest game changer for certain traders, especially with Camo, who's been trading for a while. And he just needed that one thing to help him avoid losses. So, all right, guys, I think this is it for the day. I'm not really seeing too much happening here. You can see prices just ranging around this area. ATR is very low right now, so we're not really expecting too much to happen from now until 8 o'clock. We have about 10 minutes till 8. So just a reminder, guys, today we're having the mentoring session. Mentoring session is going to happen at 2 p.m. Pacific time, which is California time. It's currently 8 o'clock right now. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. In about 6 hours, I'll be back here on the live session for just a quick rundown of what we're currently doing. So if you guys can attend that, I think that'd be a great opportunity for you guys. It's open to everybody. So, whether you guys are in the premium, whether you guys are on the YouTube, I'm going to answer all the questions that you guys have. I do this once a month. I don't really mentor anymore. So this is as close as you guys will get to one-on-one mentoring with me. So if you guys can attend it, it's fine. I just rewatch the replay. Our main focus will be on the breakout V3 continuation, V1 variation, and momentum pullback scalp with all of the red flags and confluences. I'll go over a ton of examples. You guys will see exactly what I look for here and why I consider them, quality and not quality. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys back here